The chief flight attendant's voice rang out coldly, slicing through the hush of the first-class cabin. "I'll say this one last time. Please leave this seat and move to the back. If you don't, I'll call security." Each word struck like a sharp blade, polite on the surface but soaked in quiet disdain. Danica Rhodes, a poised black woman dressed in tailored ivory slacks and a silk blouse, remained seated in 1A. She lifted her chin slowly, her voice barely above a whisper but as firm as granite. "I've already told you. I'm not moving." There was no outrage in her tone, only a disarming steadiness. Around her, passengers held their breath. The energy had shifted. Something was happening, something that none of them had expected. Danica had just been humiliated in full view of strangers. Yet no one knew that in just minutes, this unassuming woman would expose a truth that would rattle the airline to its core. Before we continue, hit that subscribe button, turn on your notification bell to get notified for more, share to friends. Where are you watching from? Please tell us in the comments. We love seeing how far our story goes. Danica Rhodes wasn't a celebrity. She didn't crave attention. She didn't wear designer logos or flaunt luxury watches. But behind that understated elegance was a resume that turned titans into interns. She was the CEO and founder of Aeronova Group, a holding company that quietly owned 5 regional airlines, a seat on the Global Aviation Standards Board, and a sizable chunk of the very airline she was flying on today. Today was personal. She hadn't flown with Concordia Air in over 2 years, not since acquiring 38% of their shares during a silent acquisition sweep. This flight from Los Angeles to D.C. wasn't business. Not exactly. It was a quiet test. No entourage. No advance notice. Just Danica and a one-way ticket in first class, booked under her middle name, DeMarie Rhodes. As she walked onto the plane, her presence turned no heads. That was how she preferred it. Until the turbulence came, not in the sky, but in the cabin. The first signal was subtle. A flight attendant with a perfect chignon and clipped vowels approached Danica as she was buckling her seatbelt. "Ma'am, I believe coach boarding is in the back." Danica looked up, slightly amused. "I'm in 1A. "Yes, but are you sure?" The woman squinted at her ticket, like it might reveal some trick. Danica held her gaze. "I'm sure." The attendant's name tag read Meredith L. She leaned in, voice now a whisper but no less biting. "We've had some, boarding errors before. People thinking they're in first class when they're not." Danica didn't flinch. "You're welcome to scan it again." Meredith did. The scanner beeped green. Still, Meredith's face soured. "Strange. You don't, never mind." Danica raised an eyebrow. "I don't what?" But before an answer could come, Meredith straightened her posture and stepped back. Her voice rose like a drill sergeant in silk. "I'll say this one last time. Please leave this seat and move to the back. If you don't, I'll call security." Now the whole cabin was watching. A businessman in 1C slowly lowered his iPad. 2 college students across the aisle exchanged wide-eyed glances. Danica stayed seated. "I've already told you. I'm not moving." That was when Meredith did the unthinkable. She reached for Danica's arm, jerking it upward as if to forcibly unbuckle her. Danica recoiled. "Don't touch me." Meredith's hand swung, open-palmed. The sound of the slap cracked like a lightning strike. Danica's cheek turned slightly, absorbing the blow, but her expression didn't change. She slowly reached into her handbag, pulled out a small envelope. "My name," she said, standing now, "is Danica Rhodes. I'm the founder and CEO of Aeronova Group. I own 38% of Concordia Air. And as of last quarter, I'm the lead shareholder behind the chair you currently work under." Silence. The businessman in 1C dropped his iPad. One of the college students whispered, "She owns the airline." Danica handed the envelope to Meredith. "Inside is a letter addressed to your chief operating officer. It includes a surprise inspection report. You just became part of it." Meredith's lips parted, but no sound came. Danica turned to the rest of the cabin. "I stayed quiet because I wanted to see how this airline treats its passengers, especially ones who look like me. I stayed quiet because I believe power should never need to yell. But I will not stay seated and be disrespected in silence. The silence shattered when an older woman in row 2 clapped once, then twice. Then the cabin erupted. Some applauded. Others gasped. A few filmed quietly. Within 10 minutes, Concordia's senior staff had patched through to the pilot. Meredith was removed from the flight. A junior attendant took her place, eyes wide and unsure. The pilot approached Danica privately. I just want to say, I'm sorry. I didn't know. Danica nodded. That's the point. You shouldn't have to know someone's title to treat them with basic respect. She remained on the flight, not out of stubbornness, but principle. The footage, though limited, made its way to social media before the wheels even lifted off. The story took off faster than the plane. Hashtag Danica Rhodes trended globally. But Danica didn't issue press statements or go on talk shows. Instead, she did what she always did: work. 3 weeks later, Concordia Air's board released a new diversity and conduct policy, co-authored by Aeronova's internal ethics team. Every crew member, past, present, and future, would go through intensive training. Meredith, surprisingly, wasn't fired. Danica personally requested she attend the program. I want her to learn, she told the board, not disappear. Otherwise, what's the point? Danica later discovered Meredith had filed for bankruptcy the previous year, was raising 2 kids alone, and had grown up in a world that never taught her to question her own biases. I judged her, Meredith admitted in a statement, and I slapped the hand that was building the future of aviation. I was wrong. That moment woke me up. Danica never flew with Concordia again, not because she held a grudge, but because she knew her presence would distract from progress. Instead, she focused on a new initiative, First Class Mindset, a national campaign teaching corporations, schools, and service industries to treat everyone with the same dignity, no matter the seat they're in. Moral of the story: respect should never be reserved for power, titles, or skin tone. The person you judge today may be the one signing your paycheck tomorrow. Danica didn't need to raise her voice or retaliate. She used her position not to punish, but to educate. And that's what real leadership looks like. I hope you enjoyed the story. If you were Danica, what would you have done? If you haven't subscribed till now, please do. Your support means a lot. See you on our next story.